Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to Louisiana Gameday, your one-stop shop for all things Louisiana College football. From the 337, the 225 to the 504, we are here to let you know what to expect this Saturday in the boot. My name is Abdul Abusada, co-host and founder of the Cajun Sports Talk podcast show, and I will be your host for Game Day, filling in for the OG host, Bryce Duyon. I am joined by a couple of some of the great creators to talk about teams around the state. And if you haven't done, subscribe and follow the Kneaux on all. Go back and watch last, where we write about some things, right, wrong about others, but passionate about it all. We're excited to bring this content to you on this beautiful Saturday in October. It still says September here. And without further ado, let's get to know the boot. All right, by the way, it's not a beautiful Saturday. It is rainy and nasty out here in Lafayette, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same for Baton Rouge and probably even Hammond as well. I don't know about Monroe up there, but yeah, it's been ugly this morning, and I expect it to be so all day today. So that's that. I'm going to unmute y'all's mics. I don't know if y'all want to have them muted or not, but oh, okay, y'all chose to mute yourselves. Okay. All right. So we have Dusty here, who is going to talk ULM. We got lineup Eastern, and of course here at Cajun Sports Talk, we'll be covering the Louisiana Raging Cajuns last. But let's start off up north, where ULM is going to be playing today against a Southern Miss team that came off of a win last week. Dusty, a little bit about what happened last week and what can we expect today?
You always try to put the painful things behind you. Last week, ULM's got some kicker woes because both of them are out injured. So they were really put in positions where they were just unable to go for field goals in those normal situations, had to constantly go for it. So not really a good indication there of where the offense is. They've been straying away from what's strong for them, and that's running the football, trying to pass the ball more and more. But I'll tell you, guys, this week against Southern Miss, it's going to be tough. If either of y'all have eligibility left, there's 33 players for ULM on the injury report.
I did see
Southern Miss has 2. So, yeah, if y'all got time, let's hop in the car, roll to Hattiesburg, and get ready for game day against Southern Miss, a team that is largely made up of the Marshall Thundering Herd from last year that wound up winning the Sun Belt Conference Championship and winning the East there last year, unable to go in the bowl game because everybody bolted for Hattiesburg. As much as this team is thought of to be a great offensive team, though, with Braylon Braxton, the MVP of the league last year, this is a defensive team. This is a team that has guys that are all over the top statistics for tackles. They have a safety that is leading the charge that was one of the Marshall transfers, 2 pick sixes, including a 98-yarder at App State. It's an uphill battle, knowing that ULM has had their offensive struggles this year. And as I said, 33 guys on the availability report that include both of the quarterbacks with significant snaps, both kickers. It might get ugly, but, Vegas says that it's only an 11-point spread, but it's a 50.5 over-under. With the weather that we're all talking about, it's going to be hitting Hattiesburg about this time. I'd bet the under, but I think Southern Miss covers those 11 points.
Look, I'll be honest with you. Sunbelt football can go either way. You never know what can happen. But yeah, like I can say pretty confidently that Southern Miss's defense is pretty strong. They will want to turn the ball over. I've said that a lot in the past 10 days covering Southern Miss against UL. And yeah, they will want to turn the ball over. They're a defensive team. Braylon Braxton isn't as mobile as he used to be at Marshall, but he is still nonetheless a pretty good quarterback, threw for 240 yards last week. So will be a big game today because Southern Miss actually, and I know we're going to hate this, but if Southern Miss does win this game, UL is officially eliminated from eligibility into the Sun Belt Conference Championship game. Not that it really matters because we're not going to make it, but that is a thing to think of. So if ULM does pull it off, it kind of helps UL here. But we'll see how things go tonight in Hattiesburg. This is going to be a game to watch. All right. We're going to go to the east side of Louisiana and talk about our southeastern Louisiana Lions. Lineup LeBlanc, you got this for us. What do you
hey
have?
guys. Sorry if there's a bunch of background noise this morning. I've got the little one by myself, so she's playing with her toys and she's having a great time. So if you hear a little one in the background and some toys going off, that's what's up.
That is the perfect.
Great Saturday
there's
morning.
No need to apologize or anything. That's completely acceptable.
No doubt, no doubt. So yeah, look. So the Southeastern Lions are number 19 this week, going into Houston to take on the Houston Christian Huskies at 2:00. This is a big Southland Conference matchup, not necessarily for these two teams or for Houston Christian, but Southeastern and Lamar and Stephen F. Austin are all neck and neck for the Southland Conference ownership right now. So every game really counts. So Southeastern's coming in with a back-to-back shutouts against McNeese and Northwestern State. They've outscored their opponents 79-0 in that 2-game stretch. Through 7 games, the Lions have racked up 1,242 rushing yards, 1,530 passing yards, and 146 first downs. All that does is really just prove how balanced this team is on offense. We're running the ball well, we're passing the ball well, and we're just firing on all cylinders. Defensively, team has played lights out. Like I said, zero points in 8 quarters is a lot in college football. I don't care what level you're playing and what teams you're playing. In college football, if you can shut out 2 teams in a row, that's really good defensive play. Last week we had 5 sacks. We had 9 tackles for loss. So one thing I did want to mention, you guys were talking about your conference and how it could be any day. Anything could happen. And so Coach Scelfo actually mentioned that in his press conference this week for the Southland as well. It's just, we've got to bring our A game every single game for the rest of the season. We can't just expect to go in and beat Houston Christian. We can't just expect to go in and beat East Texas A&M University. These teams that are struggling, because it is still conference games and anything could happen. So speaking of that, Houston Christian, they're coming in 2-5. They just lost last week, 27-0 to McNeese. And as I mentioned, this is a team that the Lions shut out just 2 games ago, earlier this month. So with Houston Christian, it will be interesting to see what they do at quarterback. Jake Weir has played starting quarterback most of the year for them, but last week they ended up playing Maddox Kopp instead. And in the press conference, Coach Scelfo wasn't aware of any kind of injuries that would have caused that. And he's not really sure, why they started a different quarterback last week. Maybe they're just trying to mix things up and see if they can get something going with another guy. They've also relied pretty heavily on Zyshawn Edwards in the run game. So those are 2 guys to look for this week on their offense. Keys to the game, I'm going to say this just like last week, is just score early, win the game in the first half, and give your backups those meaningful reps in the second half like we've been doing. This team has been doing that all year, building depth, playing those backups in meaningful full-speed snaps, not just in trash time. So it's really impressive to see how they've done that. It's a really mature team. And one thing that Coach Scelfo keeps alluding to is that there's no selfishness on this team. So the starters are not getting upset that they're not getting those stat padding quarters where they can just continue to run the score up on their opponents. They're actually supporting their backups. And like last week, in the last play of the defensive game, we got a pick in the end zone, and the entire sideline erupted, ran down to the end zone and congratulated that player. So that's just the story of this team. Fans are confident this week. I did a poll on X. It's interesting. 45% of those that voted predicted a 3rd straight shutout by the Lions. I'm not so sure. 3 shutouts in college football is would be hard to come by. Houston Christian's at home this week, so I predict them at least getting 2 field goals. My prediction is going to be Southeastern 41, Houston Christian 6. Lions keep it rolling. They get those back up some good playing time, and look forward to playing Lamar later in the year.
Just know that Houston Christian has the power of the CVS parking lot on their side.
Absolutely,
There you go.
yes. So the one of the running jokes in the Southland Conference this year is on Scott Van Pelt's show, or maybe it was Sports Center. They had a highlight of East Texas A&M University with like a 7-Eleven gas station or something like that, basically in their south end zone, and so they did this big graphic on the Southland Conference social media sites of where's the closest gas stations to each school. And actually Houston Christian's visitor side is all taken up by a CVS. So the big joke was, all right, now do CVS. But yeah, so I think the Lions are going to play very well this week. I think it's going to be a great game for us, and I look forward to just continuing to win. And that's what it's going to take to make it to the Southland Conference Championship, is to and then it eventually into the FCS playoff, which a lot of people are thinking that the Southland Conference is going to be a 2-bid conference this year in the FCS playoff. Chances are, knock on wood, hopefully we can beat Lamar and both us and Stephen F. Austin make it in. And I'm going to hope that we make it on the automatic bid and Stephen F. Austin gets it on the at-large, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, look, Southeastern looks really good this year. Like you said, undefeated in Southland play, so and very much in reach for making that playoff right there. So look forward to see how they finish the season. I'm pretty sure they'll win tonight. See how they finish the season. Lots of high hopes for them.
Absolutely.
Eric usually talks Nichols. We don't have him today. Of course, Bryce is not here today, so I'm kind of filling in for him. As far as Nichols go, they're going to be playing McNeese today in Thibodaux. Look, this is going to be and I don't know these two teams in depth really, but this should be a really good game. McNeese is coming in as a 2-5 team. Nichols is 1-6. Nichols has not looked good this season, and look, they started the season off really, really good against Incarnate Word. We thought this would, be one of the best teams in the FCS, and it just hasn't been that ever since. They had a pretty good half against Troy, and then they just let it, fell apart. So McNeese traveling to Thibodaux today to face the Nichols Colonels. I think this will be a pretty good game, and I think either team can pull it off here. I don't know these teams, like I said, very well enough to really go into detail here, but that's what we have.
One thing I'll say about that Southland Conference matchup is just to remember that this is also a in-state rival. So it's one of those things where it's going to be a lights out game. Same thing with us playing Nichols at the end of the year. And also us playing McNeese earlier this year. We thought it would be a shootout as well. Nobody really expected that to be a 38-0 shutout win. So these in-state rival games are always very interesting. So I'll certainly be watching that game and interested to see how it goes.
I don't know how much of a barn burner it is. I mean, Nichols only averaging 12 points a game, so
yeah, they're struggling. But I think it'll be a strong defensive game for sure.
Most definitely. HBCUs, No Chill is not here with us today. I don't have much to cover for him, so unfortunately, we're going to be skipping over them today, but we should have them next week. I know they were talking in the group chat about Southern firing their head coach. Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think Southern did go ahead and part ways with their head coach. I'm kind of like you, don't know a whole bunch to be able to speak on their behalf, but I do know that that's a fact that happened.
I just saw that their AD came out and was like, "We're going to have coaching conversations on Monday." If you didn't know to already have the box ready when you show up to the complex on Monday, I mean, I don't know what it is. I mean, when you hear that, hey, you got a few minutes and you walk in, there's HR and your lackluster boss there, not good things are about to happen.
Right. Yeah, it's an interesting situation over there.
Yeah, I saw also now that you mentioned that, I saw a tweet from I think it might have been Jacques Dussault, maybe said that he spoke with Southern's coach earlier in the day before he was let go, and asked him, does he know anything, or what are his thoughts? And he basically said this is just business as usual. He was planning on going to work that day, conducting maybe practice or film studies, and unfortunately lost his job that day.
That's got to be coach speak, though. I mean, you know that you're struggling. You're not getting the job done. You're not getting the wins. I don't know what it is on the booster side, but if you're not raising the money and doing the things that you need to off the field, I mean, you could say, "Oh yeah, things are great," while there's a hemorrhage of bodies and everything else behind you. But yeah, you got to know that it's coming.
Don't
Yep.
disagree with you there.
I agree with you. Yeah. Very interesting situation there. We'll have No Chill next week, and he'll kind of go into detail on that situation. All right. We're going to switch over to the Cajuns before we talk about our road dogs and road to the playoffs. Not much to really talk about, not much to really be excited about. They're 2-5 right now, 1-2 in the conference. They lost to Southern Miss last week in a 22-10 ball game. Look, that game was easily winnable, but UL turned it over 3 times, and they just made dumb mistakes. It was just penalties and dumb mistakes and the 3 turnovers that pretty much cost them the game. Otherwise, I thought the defense for UL really gave the team a perfect chance and opportunity to win the game. The offense just couldn't capitalize on it. Safe to say the passing game this season is going to be pretty bleak and awful, not going to be as good as advertised. Lunch came in, threw for 112 yards and an interception. Walker Howard came in for 1 drive. It was the 2-minute drill towards the end of the first half. It was his first drive, first time playing ever since the week 1 loss to Rice, where he got hurt. 2 for 6, 23 yards, and an interception. Now, to be fair, 2 or 3 of those passes were supposed to be completions. The receivers dropped them, but it didn't look good. It ended with an interception. Walker Howard kind of tried to force it late in the half and got intercepted. Caden Jensen, our tight end, was our leading receiver, had 45 yards on 5 receptions. So it's just evident that the passing game did not look good against Southern Miss. And not that I was expecting us to really light up the scoreboard in this game. I actually thought Southern Miss would light up the scoreboard. Didn't think UL, let me backtrack on that. I did think UL would light up the scoreboard. It probably was supposed to be more on the ground rather than on through the air. And it kind of was that. We just didn't light up the scoreboard. Neither did Southern Miss. Lunch is our leading rusher for 3 games in a row now. Led with, I believe, 98 yards rushing in this game. And so look, the run game's good. The pass game's bleak. The defense, on the other hand, it is improving, but not where it needs to be. Like I said earlier, the defense did help the team in staying in this game. The offense just couldn't capitalize on key opportunities. You had a fumble in the red zone on the 1-yard line, 1st and goal. Lunch Winfield runs to the right, tries to run it in, fumbles the ball, and you eventually turn it over right there. You lose the fumble, and you give Southern Miss a 3-and-out, and then the defense roughs the kicker on 4th and whatever it was on the 1-yard line, or inside a 10. So it was just the stupid mistakes and the turnovers that really just cost us the game. UL right now versus Sunbelt quarterbacks are averaging 262 yards per game through the air, which would be 123rd in the country. So, look, I know the stats say this is a top 50 team in the country in yards allowed, but against Sunbelt, they're not really. You've played Carlos Del Rio Wilson, you've played Braylon Braxton. And look, I'm going to be honest, 98 of those 230 yards that Braylon Braxton threw last week came off of one 98-yard pass that was like a 20-yard pass through the air, and then the receiver was just wide open. Other than that, Southern Miss only really had 140 yards passing, if you take that play away. So by no means am I saying UL's pass defense was bad, because the numbers, in that play kind of inflated it. But you're still doing pretty poor against Sun Belt quarterbacks. And today against Troy's quarterback and Tucker Kilcrease, he is a conservative quarterback, but he will try to light up the scoreboard, put up yards, and throw touchdowns if he gets the opportunity to do so. So that's that. Other than that, O-line injuries keep stacking up. We're not nearly as close to ULM's list of injuries, but we do have 14 players on the injury report. Seven of them have been ruled out. The new ones are Jacoby Ism, the true freshman left guard who made his first start as a collegiate lineman last Saturday against Southern Miss. He's now out for the season with a season-ending injury. He was replacing Caden Morrow, the starting left guard who got injured a couple of weeks ago. So you now have 4 offensive linemen who are ruled out for this game. And you also have 4 offensive linemen who are questionable in this game. You have 8 offensive linemen who are currently sitting here on the injury report in some sort of way. 7 players are ruled out. 6 of them have been ruled questionable. Shelton Sampson is back in practice. This is his first time that he should be playing today. His first time ever since the Eastern Michigan game. And you're starting left tackle, Bryant Williams. You're starting left guard, Caden Morrow. You're starting center, Cooper Fordham. Those are all questionable right now. All right. And Williams is not on the starting lineup. So Mackie Malo is supposed to start. He's a redshirt senior, big, 6'8", 320 pounds, I believe he is. So he's a big left tackle. So we're not going to be really missing much with Bryant Williams being out. But the point is, you have a lot of offensive linemen out. There was a point in last week's game where none of your week 1 starters were in the game. They were all hurt at some extent. Jax Harrington, your right guard, now turned right tackle. He went down in the game last week. He did come back. Bryant Williams obviously got hurt last week, couldn't come back. And, of course, your right tackle, your starting right tackle is out for the season, George Jackson. So there's a lot of injuries on this offensive front. The good news is it really hasn't affected our game, so to speak. Passing game hasn't really been affected by it. The passing game has been horrible. It's going to be horrible either way, whether you have a healthy offensive line or not. And the running game has been good, not awful. It's been pretty good. So I can't blame the offensive linemen for the struggles that this offense has had this season. So that's that. Fitzgerald West, in terms of the depth chart, nothing's really changed other than Cooper Fordham and Bryant Williams being questionable. Bryant Williams is not going to be playing today as far as I'm aware of. Fitzgerald West on the defensive side, on the defensive front, he's going to be earning a start over Kadarius Miller. He's kind of the quicker defensive lineman. He has a sack, so that's who they're looking at. You finally have your full starting wide receiver core for the first time since the Eastern Michigan game. Shelton Sampson should be back today. You now have Charles Robertson, and of course, you have what's his name? Robert Williams. So that's that. Tonight against Troy, you're playing at Troy, Alabama. They're 5-2. They're 3-0 in the Sun Belt. They're tied in first place in the West Division with Southern Miss. And look, this is a team that could very much end up finding themselves back in the Sun Belt Conference Championship game after making it the other week. So that's that. Southern Miss, also first place in that division as well. You look at Troy. Troy hasn't moved the ball very well this season, but when they do get the opportunity, they most definitely can. Troy's much capable of scoring points on offense. They've averaged 39 points against the Sun Belt this season, 28 when you look at it from an overall perspective in the season. Quarterback Tucker Kilcrease plays conservative. He only throws for 210 yards per game, but he does have the ability to light up the scoreboard, like I said earlier, and put up yards and touchdowns if he gets the opportunity. He has over 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, and only 2 interceptions this season. So he does not make much mistakes. And he hasn't played the entire season. He's only played, I think, 5 games this season. So that's that. They love spreading the ball to different receivers. Their wide receiver core, which includes Trey Taylor and DJ Epps. They love spreading the ball. Receivers have a lot of targets, have a lot of receptions, have a lot of touchdowns. So they will want to spread this ball around. I said the same thing against Southern Miss, and Southern Miss really didn't do that. Braylon Braxton really didn't light up the yards, so to speak, like we were expecting. But that's that. As far as their running game, Tay Meadows leads the backfield. He has 9 touchdowns on the season. Similar to the past game, they don't run well, but they can if they get the opportunity. So this Troy offense doesn't put up a lot of yards. They're not really good in terms of putting up yards, but they will light up the scoreboard, like I said, if they get the opportunity. We have a pretty poor running defense, so they will try to run the ball against us. I think they will have 2 touchdowns against us, and they will try to throw the ball. We've struggled against Sunbelt quarterbacks. I don't know. We've slowly been getting better, but we'll see how things go today. One thing to point out, they are a second-half team. We've seen it against Buffalo. We've seen it against, what was it called? Against Nichols. We've seen it against a lot of teams where they've put up points in the second half that ended up winning them the game when they were down in the first half. So they're very much capable of doing that. And then as far as their defense, they defend the pass pretty well, not so much the run. They allow only 189 yards per game through the air. Look, they limited Cade Klubnik to only 179 yards when they played them, when they played against Clemson. They've only allowed 8 touchdowns this season through the air. They've intercepted the ball 4 times, including 2 interception touchdowns, pick sixes. So that's that. As far as the ground game, they are not good at defending the ground game. 174 yards, what they allow per game, 13 touchdowns. They have 19 sacks on the season. So that's something to really keep an eye on. Is they got Donnie Smith, they got Jamal Williams, the linebacker, Jordan Stringer. Those are some really good defenders that Troy has that will try to get to the quarterback against this UL front that is struggling right now and injured. This is going to be something to watch for. They average nearly 3 sacks per game, Troy. So we'll see how it goes. And last week against ULM, in the second half of the game, they forced 4 turnovers against ULM in just the second half. So a team is capable of turning the ball over just as much as Southern Miss is. So, look, here's my prediction on this game. And I came in this week thinking that this would pretty much be a blowout by Troy. I think Troy will throw for a touchdown and rush for 2. That'll probably be their only 3 touchdowns. If UL's defensive line can slow down the run, they don't pass the ball well. Troy doesn't pass the ball well. Neither do they run the ball well. But I think if we can slow down the run and our defense does what it needs to do, like the trend that we've seen before conference play, I can see UL winning this game 27-24. I do think UL will cover this 9.5 spread for sure. I look, and 2 days ago or 4 days ago, whatever it was, earlier this week, my mind was completely different on that. I thought 9.5, 8.5 was a good spread, that Troy would cover it. Looking at this deeply, I think UL can cover this spread, and I think they most likely will. But if UL's running attack explodes as expected, and I do think they can run for 200 plus yards and 2 to 3 touchdowns. I don't expect UL to throw for more than 200 yards. I think there will be an interception thrown by either Lunch Winfield or Walker Howard. Walker will be getting more reps today, according to Coach Dez. But look, I expect a good running attack if our linemen can leave open paths. And if UL's running attack explodes as expected and the defensive line can slow down the run, give me UL to win this game 27-24. It's a long shot for UL to win this game. It's going to be tough. I'm still on the fence of it. I do think they'll cover the spread. I don't know if they'll win this game. It could be a closer game than expected, certainly than what I expected earlier this week. But certainly possible if UL wins this game. It would be a huge momentum boost. We'll see how things go. I got 27-24 UL. So that's that on that. Anybody else have anything before we head into our road dogs and road to the playoffs?
Hey, I did just want to mention earlier, whenever we thought Russell was going to be on, but he had something come up last minute. I did want to mention for Latex's sake, they had a guy, freshman Zarek Hill, get a beautiful sack, in their I think the first half of their game. I watched a little bit of their game, and it got called targeting. And to be honest with you, I don't know what else the defender could have done to make a more textbook tackle on the quarterback there. And I think they got robbed there. I think that player got robbed of a sack, and I think that kind of set the tone for the rest of the game. They did end up losing a close one there. But I will say also they released some blackout uniforms this week as well, and
I
they
did see
are
that. Yeah,
incredible uniforms. So,
they are
yeah.
most that. Yeah,
not a big La Tech guy. I don't hate La Tech. So I followed their Twitter and everything, but they're doing some good stuff over there.
most
And I
definitely.
feel like
Yeah.
I feel like I needed to mention that that poor freshman defender got a pretty bad call on him.
Look, they look really good this year. And I got to give it to them. What is their record right now? 4-3. They look good. I thought now past couple of games they've kind of struggled. Kennesaw State, they got blown out by Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State's actually good this year. I don't care what anyone says. So it's a really good conference over there for some reason.
Adding them to the Sun Belt will be interesting too.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is, and now I'm not sure if this is going to be their last year or next year, but if this year is their last year, they are, looking pretty good. They kept LSU to just 2 scores. I mean, it was 23-7 final. You blow out Southeastern, and I'm not going to sit here and think it was expected. But look, no, you got to give credit to Louisiana Tech.
Look, Southeastern's got an FBS bug. They haven't won an FBS game in their history. So, we went into that kind of hoping that would be the team we get it on, and it wasn't that this year. But hey, look, we held that team to 3 points in the first half. So to be able to do that, and then also we still get shut out. It looked good. It looked good for our team, but no, they have a really good team up there in Ruston.
They definitely do.
Yeah, and it's fun to watch.
Most certainly, yes. So we'll see how they finish off the season. Their schedule, for the most part, is very manageable. Sam Houston, Delaware, Washington State, Liberty, Missouri State. We'll see how they finish and see if they can make the conference championship game in what could potentially be their last season in the conference before they come to the Sun Belt. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to our road dogs. So for those who don't know, we all select a team. Does not have to be Louisiana related. That is an underdog on the road, and that we like to cover the spread. I'm going to have y'all started off here, what y'all think, and I'll let y'all know what I have last. So whichever one of y'all wants to pop up and give y'all's road dog first.
Okay, I'll hop in. I picked Baylor at 3.5 this week against Cincinnati. I don't predict Baylor to win the game, but I think it'll be close. I think they'll cover that 3.5. The reason I say I don't think they'll win, Baylor has not played. They have not won those close games this year. If you look at their history, and Cincinnati is winning those close games. Cincinnati's not winning games very big. They're not blowing teams out of the water. They're winning those games in the trenches, and those close ones. So I still think Cincinnati's going to be able to get the win, but I think it'll be closer than that 3.5 for Baylor.
Fanny, what you got over there for your road dog today?
Yeah, it's a pretty big one. It's the biggest one I've done so far, but I got UCLA covering 27.5 points against Indiana. I just think they're too hot right now. I think Nico's a really good quarterback. He's proven himself after their coach got fired. And I think that's just way too many points for how UCLA is playing right now. So I think that's going to be it. They're definitely not going to win in any sort of way, but I think almost 30 points is too much.
Yeah, I was actually looking at the list of teams last night, and I was very hesitant to really go with the big numbers there, because that's what I've kind of put myself thinking. So there were actually not a lot of teams who this week or today that will play today that I thought have a realistic shot at covering the spread as an away underdog. But the one that pointed out or that really stood out to me was Ole Miss going into Oklahoma. Ole Miss is currently 5.5-point underdogs going into this game. Now they're going to be kicking off in just under an hour from now. But look, I know Ole Miss last week lost to Georgia in a game where I thought Ole Miss could pull it off. It was a high-scoring game. It was back and forth. I thought Ole Miss had a chance until the end. It was just, final score 45-33 or 43-35. It was pretty close. So, you do that against Georgia. Now you're going to Oklahoma. John Mateer, in my opinion, still does not look like his original self after that injury to his hand. He didn't make any mistakes last week against who did they play last week? I forgot. I don't know why I just added South Carolina. Did not light up the scoreboard, but he did not have any mistakes. I think he only threw for 180 yards or something like that. But not the quarterback not where he used to be just yet. Ole Miss has a high-powered offense. I do think that they can cover the spread. Now, at 5.5 and a game with this much intensity that has playoff implications, Ole Miss could probably pull it off. If they do cover the spread, they can probably pull it off. I do think Ole Miss will cover the spread for sure. It's a long shot, but I have them covering the spread here. It's going to be a good game. All right, so that's that for our Road Dogs. We're going to head on now into our final segment, our road to the playoffs here. We got 5 teams on this list that I handpicked and sat 30 minutes trying to figure out yesterday. These 5 games have pretty big playoff implications. The first one's kind of questionable, but it makes sense, and we'll talk about it in just a second. The first one on this list, and we are going in ranking lists, so from lowest intensity to highest intensity. I got number 18 USF, who are currently 6.5-point favorites going into Memphis. This game right here has lots of playoff implications for the group of 6 bid because USF right now is ranked number 18. They win this game, they are very much in the driver's seat for getting that group of 6 automatic bid. Of course, if they win the conference. But Memphis is coming off of an embarrassing loss last week to UAB. But if they do pull off this win against USF, they are very much capable of still making a say or having a say in the playoff bid. What do y'all think about number 18 USF going into Memphis as 6.5-point favorites?
Yeah, I'll go. The spread's actually 3.5 right now for.
Oh, it's 3.5. Okay, so it's shifted a lot since last night.
Yeah, so I just think South Florida's USF the much better team. I love quarterback. Memphis didn't look good last week. I know they should bounce back, but I just think 3.5 points is perfect for the line. Barry Brown's one of the best quarterbacks in the group of 5, maybe even in the whole college football. So I think he's going to have himself a day. Like last week, he had 250 yards, 3 touchdowns against FAU. I think he had something just like that and throws for another 250, 300, another 3 or 4 touchdowns. Might have a pick, but I just think Memphis is going to not be able to contain him. USF's going to cover that spread minus 3.5 and win out the rest of the season and make the bowl game.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm going to go USF in a second half performance. I think it'll be tied going into the half, and give me USF to blow it up in the second half.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with y'all here. Just looking at it here, USF just has the better offense. And I don't know if Memphis really has a defense to slow it down. So give me USF to cover this spread and probably light up the scoreboard as well. All right, next team that we have on this list is number 11 BYU, who are going into Iowa State, and Iowa State is unranked, but Iowa State is 2.5-point favorites here as of last night. Not sure what it is right now. What do y'all think about this game?
I'll go first since my part will be very quick, but it worked last week for us. So I'm going to go ahead and say it again. BYU for the Taysom Hill effect. Go ahead with the Storm and Mormons. BYU for me.
Man, this game's tough. Iowa State does not look good the past 2 weeks, but they are coming back home after that 2-game road losing streak. Oh, man, I don't know. BYU has looked okay the past few weeks. They've had a lot of one-score games besides West Virginia 3 weeks ago. But I'm going to go with the home team, get back on track with Iowa State, and I think that bounces BYU out of the playoffs.
There we go. I don't know. This one's really tough. Just looking at it here, it's going to be a tough one. I just don't know. Look, BYU's defense looks really good. And I don't know if Iowa State's offense is capable of doing what it needs to do to win this game. I think BYU's running attack is really going to kill Iowa State here. Now, what do we have it? Once again, we have it at 2.5 for BYU as the underdogs. Give me BYU to cover this and win it outright as well. So that's that for that game. That's going to be a good game to watch. All right, our next one over here. This one is where College Game Day is at today. Number 15, Missouri at number 10, Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is coming off of a big win against LSU last week. And Missouri is looking to ruin Vanderbilt's potential first-round bye hopes. Vanderbilt is currently 2.5-point favorites in this game. What do y'all have for this big SEC matchup?
Well, this is probably the hardest one for me to pick, and I'm watching right now. The kick contest is going to determine my pick.
We'll see how that goes.
He got it. At Vanderbilt, give me Vanderbilt to win this one at home.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm going the opposite. I'm going with Missouri. Man, it's gonna be a great game for sure. I think 2.5 is perfect spread. I just think after last week, with how Diego Pavia played last week, Missouri is gonna key on him this week and just be a whole different ball game. Missouri looked much better against Alabama than Vanderbilt did, and Missouri had their chance to win. They should have won that game. So I'm gonna go Missouri to bounce back. I know they won last week, but it was an overtime against Auburn. But I think they bounced back and played much better than they did last week and get the win at Vandy.
This is going to be a tough game here, and a game that I will be tuning into. I think what really sets these two, look, Diego Pavia and Bo Pribula both look really good for given what they have. I think what sets these two teams apart is Missouri's running attack. Ahmad Hardy with 840 yards and 11 touchdowns this season. He just has been on fire. And I don't know. Look, Missouri has the better defense too. I think Missouri just overall comes in with the better team. Vanderbilt last week won the game off of really great play calling and execution, in my opinion. And so give me Missouri to win this game right here. This is going to be a tough one. I think it'll be a close game, but Missouri should not lose this game. I do not think. All right. So our fourth team on this list is the big ESPN or ABC matchup, whatever it's going to be on tonight. Number 3, Texas A&M going to Baton Rouge in Death Valley to play number 20 LSU. Texas A&M, as of last night, was 2.5-point favorites in this game. As of now, that game
it's still 2.5.
It's still 2.5. Yes.
Yep.
So this is a really big game. And I'm going to have y'all talk about it first before I talk about it here. We forgot to cover LSU, by the way, but we might as well do it now. So what do y'all have on this game?
So this is a very important game for LSU and Brian Kelly in specific. I think this is Brian Kelly playing for his job. I think last week we said that the game was going to be make or break for their playoff run. And I think that was still the case. However, I think that this is going to be a game for them to just continue kicking and screaming on on the fight. And Brian Kelly wants to keep his job, so give me LSU at home in a very close one. I mean, the spread's 2.5, so it's certainly going to be a close game. Texas A&M LSU is always a close game. I think what year was that? Maybe 2020 when they had like 6 overtimes.
It was. I think it was right before the 2019 season. I think it was 2018.
2018, yeah, that was one of those games where you stayed up till 2 o'clock in the morning trying to figure out how that one was going to end. So these games are always close. But give me LSU in a close one. And I had to apologize for the Baton Rouge faithful last week with my prediction for LSU to win big. I think I might have jinxed you guys, but so anyway, hopefully I don't do that to you this week. One other thing before we move off of the move on, I brought up a hypothetical in another show that I was watching. I commented this. I thought it was interesting. Coach O is looking to get back into coaching. I don't see him going back to LSU, but this is the situation that I put forth. What if LSU were to, if they were to lose Brian Kelly, which I don't think is a smart thing to do, bring Dave Aranda in from Baylor. John Summerall takes the Baylor job, and Coach O goes coach at Tulane and rides off into the sunset, coasting at Tulane. I think that's a pretty good situation. I think that'll make the Tiger fans happy, to get Dave Aranda back in the building. But I don't know. The show that I was watching said they don't want Dave as head coach. So, just some things for the comments to talk about.
I do think that Coach O needs to coach at a Louisiana school, for sure. In my opinion, I don't care where it's at. It could be at UL for all I care.
Coach has a spot.
But I think if he can coach at a school in Louisiana, I think that would be awesome. But yeah, Banyan, what you got for this game?
Well, going back to Coach O, as long as he doesn't come back to LSU, it's fine with me. He's not a good head coach. I don't think for a big school like that. He can be a coach, but just not head coach. I don't think he's just fit for that. But going back to the game tonight. A&M's 0-7 in Death Valley. A&M's combined SEC record for their 4 opponents this season is 2-12, and they allow 40 points in their last 5 road games under Mike Elko. I think this game is going to be a really good game, though. LSU's coming back from last year, revenge game. We had the game won at halftime, and then A&M makes the switch to Marcel Reed, and Marcel Reed just runs all over, does everything, and just goes back and beats us. So I think there's going to be a lot of revenge coming back, especially after last week, how Diego Pavia ran all over us. I think we're going to have a better game plan this week from Marcel Reed, and we're just going to stop him from using his legs as much as last week as Diego Pavia, and I think that's going to be the deciding factor in today's game. And LSU's going to win this game by 7 points.
All right. I'm going to kind of do 2 things at once because I know we didn't cover LSU, and it's probably something we should cover. Going back to last week's loss to Vanderbilt, I thought the offense did better than I was expecting, than many LSU fans were expecting. I think they arguably had, one of their best games this season. They just defensively were injured, and Weeks, for example, was not playing. Big key factor in why they lost last week. And another thing really was Vanderbilt just executed plays like to perfection. It was just awesome. I mean, I don't think I've seen a college football game this season that was executed against a good team, a good defense that was executed so perfectly and so well like Vanderbilt's offense did. Today, the thing about Texas A&M is, and I think we can all agree on this, I don't think they are supposed to be ranked number 3. I don't think they would be ranked number 3 if they weren't an SEC school. I said this the other day. Take out the name SEC and put them in the ACC or some other conference. Still have the same schedule, just, the fact that we know that A&M is in a different conference, they would be ranked like 10 right now. Look, you beat Notre Dame, who is a really good team. They're ranked in the top 15. That's your only ranked win, though. So you don't have big wins, so to speak, on your record. Now, on the other side, LSU does not either. they have not won a big game this year. I mean, their biggest game is against Clemson, who we now know is not really a good football team, and a testament to just how poor and awful AP top 25 preseason polls are. But you have not won a game that has much significance or much power other than like maybe South Carolina. And that's pretty much it. And then Clemson, of course. So Florida obviously has no more, they don't have their head coach anymore. You barely win against Louisiana Tech. You beat Southeastern. You lose to Ole Miss. That was your first true test, and you failed against a really good offense. This was the chance to see how good your so-called top 5 defense was against a really good offense. And they just got outplay called again, similar to what happened against Vanderbilt. And so you win against South Carolina, who, look, to be honest, they're not really a good team, as good as we were maybe expecting. We didn't have high hopes for them to begin with anyways. But A&M, this is going to be a really good game because neither team really has a big resume to go off of. A&M only has that win against Notre Dame. LSU, they beat a top 5 team on paper week 1 against Clemson, but they're 3-4 now, So the weather in Baton Rouge tonight is not going to look good. As a matter of fact, it is raining right now and pouring here in Lafayette, and it's supposed to be the same all day today in Baton Rouge.
In Baton Rouge, it's going to stop at 12 and start at 9.
Whatever it's going to be. And I know some people were talking about this whole, well, it doesn't rain in Death Valley. It never rains during the games. Just shut it up. It's not a coincidence.
Hey,
I have a feeling.
It doesn't. If it does, it sprinkles.
Yeah, but that's not a coincidence. It's just weather,
Okay,
we'll see how it goes tonight. Will be this chance to see whether you're right or wrong. We'll see. Point is, the field will be wet today. The atmosphere will be moist, and it will not be easy to throw the ball, which is something Marcel Reed and Garrett Nussmeier do somewhat, or at the very least, somewhat pretty well. So I expect this to be a much lower scoring game than what we might have anticipated at first. And of course, you got a really good LSU defense, but Whit Weeks is not playing today. Doubtful. And you still have a banged up offensive line for LSU. LSU had 2 offensive line out against Vanderbilt, and they lost the 3rd one during the game. I'm not sure what the situation is right now, but the point is they are not completely healthy, not where they need to be. I think this will be a close game, and give me A&M to win this game only because of their running attack. I think this will be a 24-20 ball, A&M only because they have the better running attack right now. LSU just does not have it in them right now in terms of the running game. Caden Durham is back. He's been back, since last week. But I don't know. It's just I haven't seen much from LSU to really say this team right now can win a big game. They have the roster to do it. They just haven't been able to execute it. Mario Craver looks really good as a receiver for A&M as well. I'm really excited to see him play tonight. Hopefully the weather isn't bad so I can see him play good. But we'll see. It's going to be a good game, and could very much be a deciding factor in if they can make the playoffs or not, if LSU can make the playoffs. I did say this before. If they do lose this game but somehow win against Alabama and win out, their chances of making the playoffs is still there. It's smaller, but they can still make the playoffs as a 9-3 team if you lose to A&M in a close game and then win out the rest of the season. Much possible, very much possible. It's even very much more possible if you win this game but lose to Bama next week. Bama's ranked number 4 and you're playing at Bama. You lose that game in a close game, you're not dropping much in the rankings. So either way, I still think LSU can finish 9-3 and make the playoffs. It'll be a long shot because their team right now does not seem like they are capable of winning a game against A&M or Bama, especially Bama. And then, of course, you got number 13 Oklahoma. If they hold up and you can win that game over there, yeah, you can pretty much make the playoffs as a 9-3 team if you either lose to Bama or A&M. So we'll see. But this game will pretty much, in my opinion, dictate what the rest of the season will look like for LSU. All right. So we did two things at once for that game. Our final game on this list, and we were talking about it earlier, is number 8 Ole Miss at number 13 Oklahoma. Oklahoma right now, or as of last night, were 5.5-point favorites in this game. And is it, I don't know, is it still the same 5.5 for Oklahoma? Let's see.
It's 5.5, I think.
It is 5.5. Yes. So, what do y'all have on this game? Y'all thoughts? Because this has big playoff implications.
Yeah, on our podcast Tuesday, I had Ole Miss being my pick of the week for covering the spread. I just think the offense is too high-powered. I don't think Oklahoma's offense is that great. They've struggled the past few weeks, and I just think it's going to be too much. I think it's going to be a shootout, though. I think Ole Miss probably wins, probably by like 5 to 7 points, but it's going to be probably like a 30, 38, 34 type of game.
Yeah, give me Ole Miss to win this game on the road. I like what you said earlier about their loss to Georgia is it's a good loss. It's not like they showed they didn't have what it takes to win the game. So give me Ole Miss to beat Oklahoma.
My only concern in this game is Oklahoma has a really good defense. That's my only concern. So it's really a game of a really good offense with Ole Miss and a really good defense against Oklahoma. I actually think this will be a lower scoring game than you might be thinking, Banian. This might end up being a 24-20 ball game, 27-20 ball game. I don't know if there's really going to be any team that puts it more than 30 points. So I do think Ole Miss will cover the spread here. Winning this game is going to be a long shot. I have been a supportive factor to Lane Kiffin's offense. So give me Ole Miss to win this game, but this will be a really good game to tune into. And that's a game I'm going to be running home right now to tune on.
I hope Oklahoma wins, because if Oklahoma wins, that means LSU's got a better chance if they go beat A&M tonight and then play Oklahoma the last game of the season, hopefully get into the playoffs. So
right. And that's another thing is, Oklahoma wins this game. They're going to be ranked probably 9th. It depends on how they win the game, but maybe they will be ranked in the top 10 for sure. And that will be a big resume boost for LSU if they can win out, or if they even lose one game to A&M today or to Bama. It only helps LSU.
Right. The only thing I'm worried about is that Lane Kiffin, with the Florida job and everything, he said he was going to address his players, so that could be a whole different situation.
That's going to be. We'll see how things go today. That's a very interesting situation. We didn't get to talk about today. I didn't know much about the situation. I have heard a lot. Yeah, $81 million is what they're offering him. Is that correct?
Yeah. So yes, I think something like that. So he's addressing the team about it, the rumors and stuff. I don't know if that means what's going to happen, what he's going to say exactly, but it could be a whole morale boost drop this week going into the game.
I don't know why Lane Kiffin would even entertain the situation right. And if
it's not the time to do that.
Yeah, it's not the time.
Badly.
He
not the time to do it. You have a top 10 team right now who is 6-1 and very much capable of not only making the playoffs, but getting the bye in the first round. And
yeah, he should definitely take it, but that should be a conversation for later.
Right.
At least talk about it if Ole Miss loses this game and then they're like out of the playoffs or anything, but not right now. Whenever you got a key game coming up.
Yeah, this is wrong time to even worry about. I don't think this is something you worry about until the end of the season.
That makes me think that he's going to tell him he's not going anywhere. If he's going to cover it right now, he's going to ensure that
could be. But
coaches talk. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here. I'm committed. And
I guess we won't know till
end of the
game.
season he's gone.
Yeah, I guess we won't know till after this game.
We'll see. That's why I'm about to run home and watch this game. So we'll see how things go. All right. Well, I think that is all for today on Louisiana Game Day. We covered Southeastern. We covered UL. We covered a little bit LSU at the end here. And, of course, we did cover ULM with Dusty. We brushed by a little bit with Louisiana Tech, who are going to be wearing some pretty dope uniforms today. I mean, those are awesome. I saw the pictures, and they were awesome. So We'll see how things go today. Good luck to all of our Louisiana teams. I do not believe they're playing against another Louisiana team today other than McNeese and Nichols. So we'll see how all these teams play today. I hope Nichols and good game and see who's the better. Two pretty teams this season looking to round 4. It's really two. So we'll see off today. Good luck to all of our teams today. And of course, we hope everybody is safe. We'd like to thank y'all for tuning in to the Louisiana Game Day show today. We will be back next week right here on X, on Facebook, and on YouTube at 9:30 a.m. Hopefully we'll have Bryce with us if he doesn't have any wedding prep to do. And that's that. Appreciate y'all for tuning in.
One more last thing. It's Centenary's homecoming this week. So
really?
They got their homecoming game against McMurray.
There we go, McMurray.
Come back and get their second win of the season back-to-back.
See, guys, we never forget about Centenary. We've mentioned them almost every show now. Like, we're here talking all the sports. Centenary is especially one of them. So that's that. Good luck to them today on their homecoming game. Hopefully they pull it off, and we'll have something to talk about next week. Appreciate y'all once again for tuning in to the Louisiana Game Day show. My name is Abdul Abusada with Cajun Sports Talk, Banyan as well. Tune into our Cajun Sports Talk podcast show on Tuesdays. We are going to be going live at 5 p.m. this Tuesday on our YouTube at Cajun Sports Talk. We will be at Knight Field of Lafayette Christian Academy. America's Flag Football does have some football games to be playing that evening, and we will be going live right in front of those games. So tune into our show over there. Lineup LeBlanc, we appreciate you for tuning in. Y'all have a great rest of y'all's day. Everybody have a safe trip to where you're going. If you're going to any games tonight, me and Banyan will be at the LSU A&M game tonight. We'll see how things go. Appreciate y'all. Have a great rest of y'all's day. Good luck to all of our Louisiana teams.